Welcome, my name is Michelle and this is another, video on my channel. I am a crochet designer and also a feel-good author in Swedish. Today I am going to talk a little bit about micro crocheting, I think it is called. You use a very small needle, like 1 millimeter crochet hook or smaller, and you use a very thin lacy kind of yarn, or you use maybe even sewing thread if you're really hardcore. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So if that's interesting to you, grab something nice and cozy to drink. That might be something cold when it's summer, or something warm if it's a little bit colder where you are, wherever you might be in the world. And also grab a project if you feel like you want to do something while I'm talking, and let's go. So I'm sitting outside today again here on my balcony. I just feel like it's a really nice evening again, and it's my husband's turn to get the kids down, and I don't want to risk, catching any of those screaming, crying, or laughing, or whatever it might be. And I think this is the best spot to be at the moment for that. Anyway, so I was talking in the beginning of this video that I wanted to, focus on micro crocheting in this video, and not maybe too much about like going into it, but just my experience, like my teeny weeny experience so far. No pun intended. Anyway, I want to talk about the earrings that I crocheted in this very thin yarn, and I will show you a clip of what I did, so you will have a little bit of better footage of that. But what I did was basically just a regular granny square. I did 3, I guess, rounds. So I started out with just 12, I guess you could call it double crochets, right? That's the word. 12 double crochets in a magic ring, and then I did like 6 double crochets in each corner. And I guess if you've done granny stitches before, you know that it is a cluster of 3 double crochets, right? So I just did that, and then on the third row, I can't speak today. On the third row, I did in the corners 6 again, but then in between those 2 granny stitches or clusters of 3 double crochets, I made 3 chain stitches, and then I did a cluster of 3 double crochets, aka a granny stitch in between those corners. And that's how I make my I guess granny squares. And some people choose to have a chain in between the clusters, and I just prefer not to. I like the more tighter look, and I think it turned out nice. I did try to, on one of them, just carry the yarn between the colors, so I didn't have to like weave in so many ends, and I don't think it did any huge or crazy like differences in them too. Let's see, I don't even know which one is what I did with which one, because when you're sewing in the last strings, you can sort of hide anyone that is poking out. So that is how it looks on the back side. So I think it looks pretty good. And then that is the front. And I thought these were so cute. I will obviously show you some footages of me wearing them. I was wearing them outside. I think will use them for 2 days in a row. I think I used. The earrings that I used was just something that I had a long time in my stash. It was I think it's just some kind of stainless steel covered with some kind of silver, some kind of like a sterling silver. So I already had that, so that made sense. I also tried actually to make the same basically granny square, but here with the green as the more dominant color, and they turned out like that. I have not weaved in all the ends, which looks like this on the back. It's not that much to weave in really, and it doesn't take me that much time either when it's just so small. I think that turned out so good. So I used a 1mm crochet hook, if you did not catch that on camera. And I also used the yarn that is called Bloom Lace, 100% mercerized cotton. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Looking like that is how the label is looking. Pretty nice. And I'm not going to show you the yarn because I think I will show you that instead in a different footage here. And I thought, I'm going to tell you that the hardest part, I think, was to get started, to make that magic ring and to make those first chain stitches, or even maybe the second and third double crochet before you got the hang of it. Otherwise, I think it like went really well. Obviously, like you need to have a pretty proper, like a good grip on the whole project a little bit. But once you sort of made the first round of double crochets or granny stitches and you were starting on the next one with the next color, I don't think it was that hard. Obviously the stitches are very, very small, and it can be a little bit of like hard to see where to push in with your needle, etc. But I did go a little bit by feet, like just how it felt as well. And I guess also a habit of crocheting before, and made granny squares before. So I didn't think that it was that complicated, to be honest. It actually made me want to do more things with, and maybe more earrings or something like that. I'm not sure what I would want to do though. Like I want it to be, if I make something, I want it to be functional and something that I would use. So I don't know if, yeah, I wouldn't do more earrings maybe, but I don't need a million, I guess, granny stitch or granny squares earrings. But I mean, you could play around with making 2 hanging down like that. And I was considering, should I block these, because you usually block your granny squares, but I mean it doesn't really matter when they're this small, but they might do, like they might look more crisp if you do. I don't know if you probably would just use regular needles, and maybe, I don't know if you would do it maybe on a yoga mat or a cushion or something like that, just because I mean, if unless you have a little board that you can block this on that is like this tiny, you can probably build one very cute little one. But no, I was wondering if I should make maybe a kind of a tree, or if I should try to make some kind of flowers, or if I should, yeah, play around with something else. But then I feel like it's a little bit boring to just have these 2 colors on every little type of earring or whatever I might be making. So I don't know if I don't want to buy too much yarn unless like I'm going to really use it. So that's why I feel like I need to have a few projects in mind, because obviously you don't need that much yarn to make just these small granny squares. So if you're making something, you probably want to make sure that it might be many things that you want to make out of that, or maybe one little bigger one. I don't know. It's like making these small ones where like maybe with like, I think I made actual earrings with the whole like this jewelry part as well. What do you even call this? Yeah, the whole thing I think took me 30-35 minutes just to make one, or maybe both. Like one of these squares took 10 minutes to make, I think, and then another maybe 10 minutes to sew in the ends on both. No, I think I made the pair actually in 30-35 minutes, which is pretty, I guess time-wise, pretty good, I think. But yeah, and obviously you use very little material. I don't remember the cost of that, but I would say that you can make one pair of earrings for a pretty cheap amount of money, and depending on how much those earrings are costing. Good night. So yeah, my daughter had to say goodnight. It's okay. So yeah, so all I need to do is basically sew in these ends, and then I'll figure out if I'm probably going to make a pair of earrings with these as well. I mean, like, that is a nice little being, you know, being able to change between those two. But what else should I do with the lace yarn? And are you into micromanaging? Oh my goodness. Are you into micro crocheting? And if so, what have you been doing or making? And if you're not, and you've just looked into it a little bit, but feel like it's maybe a little bit scary to try out, what are you hoping to be able to do if you do dare to take and make it, like, just to try it out? Because I've been just, like, you know, scrolling around, looking at Pinterest and all kinds of places, and just trying to figure out what to do. So I haven't decided yet, but yeah, it's very interesting. It's very fun. I think it was a quick reward as well. Like, it feels like something that you could just do very quickly. Let's say you're heading somewhere and you just want to feel like you're accomplishing something or making something, then a pair of earrings like that, granny square earrings, would be a very quick little make if you want to do something as a very small project. So more of that, and like I said, I am open to ideas and tips and all that. So please comment if you have any thoughts at all about that. Otherwise, I think that's all I have to talk about today. If you find this interesting and you find maybe micro crocheting, not managing, crocheting interesting, then let me know, and maybe I'll make an effort to actually dig even deeper into it and see if there's more for me there to learn and to discover and maybe create. So thank you so much for watching, and yeah, I hope I'll see you in the next video. Bye!